Today, I am going to be sharing the 6-month update on my Tesla Model 3 performance. I'm going to tell you what I've done to it so far, including the wheels, paint protection film. I'm going to talk about wear and tear. I'm going to talk about the tech features in it that I use every day and love. I'm going to talk about some upgrades that they've made to it that I've realized over time. Also, this right here, these are oil stains. I just ate a steak, egg, and cheese burrito. I apologize. And I've also found a large issue that this Model 3 has that the older Model 3s did not have. As soon as I took delivery of my Model 3, I got PPF and ceramic tint done at Dynamic Tint in Tempe, Arizona. Tyler is the owner there and does incredible work, and this has already saved me several scratches and cuts in the paint, so I'm happy I did that and will always have PPF on my cars moving forward. My friend Sarah and I went ripping in the canyons, and she was throwing rocks up all over the front of my car, and it didn't affect my paint at all. So if you care about keeping your paint perfect or anything like that, I recommend PPF. If you don't care, then just don't get it. The other obvious thing I've done in the first 6 months of ownership is change the wheels. Now, I want to be clear. I don't think this is a better looking wheel than factory, but it does look really good, and that wasn't the point. The point is that this wheel and tire setup gives me 40 more miles of range. It's an all-season tire, and with more sidewall, I get more comfort. In addition to that, this is a Model 3 Performance, so it's the only Model 3 with an adaptive suspension. With these two upgrades, I believe, based on what my butt has told me, that the Model 3 Performance rides better than any other Model 3. Build quality has plagued Tesla for years, but the Model 3 and Y are now rock solid from what I have seen. I only had 2 issues from factory that were fixed by Tesla already. There was a bubble in the laminate on the top glass, and there was a fold in the passenger side door. These have both been replaced by Tesla, and keep in mind, things like this take over a month to get into service because it's not keeping you from driving the car. So if you saw this video right here, I had to go to Tesla to get my radiator replaced because there was a puncture in it, which was causing a leak for the coolant. So I drove right to the Tesla service center. I don't really like playing around with the app and service. I like to go there, talk to someone, and have them diagnose and then tell me if they can get me in same day or not. But because that was something that was going to affect driving the vehicle safely, they took me same day, and I was lucky enough to get a loaner. I went to the Tempe Tesla service center, and those guys were excellent over there. So something like that is serious, they'll get you in very quickly, but things that are aesthetic, like a laminate or the issues that I had, it's going to take like a month. When I owned a Porsche Macan S, it took me a month and a half to get in for a recall, and anytime there's a recall on the Tesla, it's generally 90% of the time handled by an over-the-air update, and that's been incredible. So I love the fact that I have the performance of the Model 3 Performance, but now I have the range of the Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive. The fact that you can do that just by changing the tires into an all-season setup, I love. The wheels that I got on this are from Atomic Wheels. They didn't sponsor this video. They did sponsor the other one. So if you use my code there, you'll save 10%. And then also these tires from Salem, they did really well in the efficiency testing I did on my Model Y. So I contacted Salem, and then they sent me out these set of tires. And again, they did excellent. So 340 miles of range is what I got on average for my efficiency testing, and I'm really happy with that. Panel gaps, harsh ride, noisy cabin, all of that is a thing of the past. This Model 3 has been incredible in those compartments. Additionally, these wheels are fully forged and have saved me 5 pounds at each corner. They are lighter and just as strong as the factory forged wheels, which is really impressive because the factory forged wheels at 20 inches only weigh 21 pounds. The size on these are 235, 45, 18. Now, the Model 3 has a ton of secret storage compartments. This is one of them, and I got this accessory from Tparts as well as this storage bin. And the nice thing about the bin is you're able to just pull it out and see what you actually have in there, as opposed to digging around in here and not being able to see. So you're able to use this, and you have these block-offs, which give you more space across the top without things falling down into the bottom. And they have these pull tabs, which are really nice. So this matches the interior on the car right there, which is really cool. You have the storage bin, Another thing from Tparts, which I love, is their wireless game controller that you're able to hook up to your infotainment system and actually use while you're gaming. So my discount code on Tparts will give you 15% off. Tparts has been an awesome partner on the channel. They even have one of my favorite accessory that they make is their carbon fiber spoiler. They're working on creating a replica of this. Their current one replicates the carbon fiber spoiler on the old Model 3s. I always recommend getting the matte version of it just because it's a subtle upgrade that looks OEM. So I really like that. Tparts has been an awesome partner. They have some really cool things on their site. Moving inside, let's talk about the interior. Honestly, this is one of my favorite things about the Model 3 when I first got it. Now, before I took delivery of my Model 3, I was worried about the seats in them because the bolstering, are they going to be too stiff? Is this going to be too over cumbersome? As soon as I went to a Tesla showroom and tried it out, I was shocked. It made me so excited to get this thing. Very happy that Tesla differentiated this new Model 3 performance, the new front fascia with the front splitter, the rear diffuser, the newer shaped spoiler, and then having these performance seats, the carbon fiber up here. They've done some really nice things on this that differentiate it from the other models. It's like a BMW 3 Series compared to an M3. They look totally different. So the comfort of the seats is excellent. They're very soft. The bolstering isn't too over cumbersome. For me, again, I'm 6 feet tall and I'm 174 pounds, 32-inch waist. So your boy's built like an Olympic pole vaulter, female. And the seats I love. Now, I take my glasses off for this segment because this is what I discovered that these seats have an issue with that the old Model 3 didn't. Now, if you've watched this channel for years, I use the Hydrosilix interior cleaner in ceramic. I spray that and clean the seats. It works incredibly well. I did that on these, but I get the kids out of the room. I trusted a fart, unfortunately, one day at a supercharger. And I stained the driver's seat. So we're going to take a look at that right now. We're going to take a look. So as you can see here, there is some stainage, and I've put a little bit of effort into trying to clean it out, but the old seats would have had this off no problem. These new ones had a problem. You could also just not poop yourself in your car, and you won't have this issue. But if you're prone to stains or things like that, you might be better off getting the black seats. So I love the white seats. They're comfortable. They look amazing. Just beware though, they don't clean up quite as well as the old ones did. The other thing we need to talk about is the side bolster here. So you can see this is very high. How is the creasing? Well, there's really no creasing on it so far, but I'm also extremely cautious getting in and out. I am always cognizant of that. So I get my butt down first in the poop seat and then go over like that. And I keep this out of my way. Now there are some creases here, but overall, like when I'm getting out of the vehicle, I don't slide and roll over the bolster. I always get my leg out first in this lower area and then step. So I've always done that, even with my M2 Focus ST. I've always been very careful with the bolsters because I care a lot. But if you don't, you roll over them, you will crease them. It's not the end of the world, it's just a crease. They still feel the same. Just something to note. There are other unmentioned upgrades on the interior of the Model 3 that all add together. Even the double paned glass on the exterior that's now on both the front and rear windows. The screen now has a new bezel which gives you more space and feels better. The sound system is better, and because the car is better insulated, the sound system sounds 10 times better. The seatbelt retractor is smoother, taking less effort to pull the belt over your gut. And let's not forget, there's a screen in the back which lets you move the passenger seat, and this was a recent software update. One thing you will come to love when owning a Tesla are the software updates, which keep adding more features to the car. Traditionally, when new features come out, you have to buy a new car, but Tesla does a great job of keeping current owners up to date. Another thing that has been excellent is the steering wheel. Even my 2020 Tesla Model Y with 75,000 miles on it, the steering wheel has held up better than any car I have ever owned. Not only do you have extra storage in the subcompartment of the trunk, you have 60-40 split seats. So when you go like this, they fold almost totally flat. So despite the Model 3 being a small car and you still have usability of the frunk, there's a ton of space in this thing for longer trips. Now let's talk about technology. This is where this thing really shines. Get in. Now Teslas look very minimalistic because they're not like traditional cars that have buttons everywhere. So one thing that is great that you'll notice here is the Sentry mode system. So it noticed that something happened around the car and it automatically recorded it. If you go right here there's Andrew filming the front of the car. So it records and saves all of this from multiple different angles, and there's even a camera here so you can remotely check if maybe your dog's in the car. Another thing you may not have noticed here is these are the 18-inch wheels on the Model 3. The reason it has the 18s is because I told it I put 18-inch wheels on it. If you go into your settings, if you go into service, and then wheel and tire, you can actually change what wheel and tire you have on it. So 18-inch Photon, and there are the different types of wheels that Tesla offers from the factory. So those are all Tesla wheels. Obviously that doesn't look like my wheel, but if you did switch, you could have it illustrated on the screen, which is just attention to detail that I love. And then tires, you can choose what type of tires. Do you have winter or do you have all season or summer? And after all of that is in there, it'll make sure the car is calibrated for the proper efficiency and speed that you're going. So that way everything is perfect when you're at different chargers. So you can see here, this is my favorite app to use while driving the car because it shows you how you can be more efficient. So on this, stay below 70 miles per hour would save X amount of energy, and it shows what's pulling energy from the battery. So all of this is just extremely useful in Tesla's infotainment, their sound system, and all of these different apps, which you can even move. Another thing that I've done here is I have it set up with this energy app, which I use a lot, Bluetooth, which I reference a lot, and I also have my calendar down here so I can reference the date if I'm ever driving along and need to know the date, which for some reason happens often. So I have all of that down there, and you're also able to change which apps you have down there. So if you want your phone, you just hover over, drag it down, and boom, it pops right into place. So this infotainment system, while it can be intimidating up front, is very good. But on top of that, there are voice commands. So I'm going to tell it to open the charge port, open butthole, and it opens up, but it's also illustrated on the screen. You can see the charge port is open. When I press this, it closes and shows you. So it's just so well done. It's so far ahead of anyone else. And then there are software updates. So if I click this right here, you can see it says Amazon Music right here. That dot is on there because that is recently added in here. The other thing that they've done is they've added Sirius XM to Teslas. I don't have that update on my Model 3, but it's on my Model Y. You're able to use Sirius XM. So I love the infotainment system. I love how vertically integrated all of this is. This is all done in-house at Tesla. So you know what superchargers you're going to, how long it's going to take, how many people are there. The updates are really well done. Recalls are generally handed through over-the-air updates. It's just incredible, and you will come to love this over time. The other thing I will say about this, if you're shopping for a used Tesla, I recommend getting it with the Ryzen chip. And the reason, because the display is just so much faster. You're able to get this look. This is the newest look that Tesla has. If you get it without the Ryzen chip, you won't have this. You'll have the limited updates. You're still getting updates like I do on my Model Y, but it's just not as advanced in this. And the way to check is if you go into software and you then click additional vehicle information, you can see right here it says AMD Ryzen. So you're able to look there. If you're shopping for a Tesla, you can at least know where to look under infotainment processor. You want the AMD Ryzen, and then you'll be set and future-proof yourself for a few years, having a processor that can handle all the current updates. Now, the only upgrades I've really done to the interior are these carbon seat back covers from Yeslac. And then I've also done the 3D floor mats in both my Y and my 3. Those seem to fit the best to me, give you the best protection. So those are the only upgrades that I've done in here. I just think it's really well pointed from the factory. Now, Teslas are famous for full self-driving. The cars are able to drive themselves to destinations, and that is getting better and better and better month after month because they have 6 million cars on the road that they can pull data from. Now, my Model 3's over there, and I'm sitting outside of a Texas Roadhouse, and I've ate 25 bread rolls, I had 12 Dr. Peppers, and a 20-ounce ribeye, so I can't walk to my car. So I've never actually done this before on my own car, but there's a button here called Summon. So I'm going to say, go to Target, and my Model 3 should drive right to me. The other thing that's cool here is I'm getting a live stream of the cameras in my car. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous about this. Do not curb the wheels, Elon. Because it does have to go around the planters. Hey, this is a good way to get rollers. And there you go. It drives right to me, so now I can get in my car like this. Oh! Incredible technology. There is no manufacturer out there that has something even close to this. Now, in addition to the car driving itself to you, it also has an auto park feature. So if you're uncomfortable parking in tight spots, you're able to select them, and then you hit start and the car will go ahead and back itself into a spot. Now, I think they are updating it in the future, so it'll pull in forward. Right now, it always pulls in backward. But look, if you're uncomfortable, it's a tight spot, it will do it for you. Again, this is an incredible feature, but this is with full self-driving. So full self-driving, as of right now, costs $8,000 or $99 a month. I recommend trying it for the $99 a month. Generally, when you buy a Tesla, it gives you a 30-day trial of it. But again, just very cool features. Now, there are a lot of other brands that have the self-park feature, but I just, little things like that, and it's so well integrated into the infotainment system. I don't have to do anything special. It pops right up on the screen and is showing me right there. So I really like that. Now, the ride quality of the vehicle, like I said earlier, this is a Model 3 Performance. This is their stiffest model. And I think because of this adaptive suspension, so if you go click on the car here and you click Dynamics, you have your 3 different acceleration modes. So we'll go to Insane. But then you have Ride and Handling. So this is your Standard mode and Sport. In Standard, the car is really surprisingly soft. That was a big complaint before. It was too stiff. And now I just think it's incredible. I never even put it into Sport mode. You could do that on the track or maybe a canyon road, but I like how the car loads up and sets up in Standard mode. I just think it's really well done, and then putting on the 18-inch forged wheels has made it even more comfortable. I think more comfortable than any of the other Model 3s, even with 18-inch wheels. The driving dynamics, you can be so precise in this is like a surgeon's scalpel, the way that you can cut through traffic. You can use autopilot. I personally wouldn't spend the money on full self-driving. I think it's cool, but I don't think it's worth it. And I really don't ever use full self-driving. I just use the autopilot, and that's totally fine. It's shocking how fast this thing is, and then it's just really calming to drive. If you need to get into a gap in traffic, or if you're in traffic and you don't want to drive and put it in autopilot, I think autopilot on its own is really good. The steering wheel ergonomically is better than the old wheel. I can't say enough good about how this thing is built. You have your charging infrastructure. You have the good build quality now. There's Tesla service centers in most places. It's just really well done. I make YouTube videos for a living, so for me, it's important to get these cars right away and start making the videos. The problem with that, and the problem with jumping on this early, is I got a 6% interest rate. So my first car payment, on this is $751 a month at 6% interest. $400 went to the principal and $350 went to interest. Right now, you can get a Model 3 or Model Y at 0% interest. So I would say, when the new Model Y comes out, for example, hold off a little bit. The deals will come. Don't just jump on it. And I've seen so many people in these awful situations, underwater on cars, be able to put 20 or 30% down and then, have a car payment that you can easily make for 12 months if you lost your job. Don't be jumping in over your head to get these things. They're going to be making them forever. They're not hard to get. They'll hit the used market. I just can't believe how many people get themselves in really bad situations with car payments. Even the $750 payment that I have is ridiculous, but I can handle it, and my channel is generating revenue off of these videos that I make. So it's different. So just relax. Do not get yourself in a bad situation. It's just a car. There will be more of them. This isn't some sought-after vehicle. It's just a high production car, and that's why they lose value. So the other thing is, hold on to them. Get the Tesla you want, get the color you want, get the interior, and make sure you are happy with it. Get it and keep it and run the wheels off of it. You can now buy out of leases, but keep in mind, at the end of a lease, you're there with nothing. So I don't think it makes sense. So just relax. Don't try to impress anyone. Just get the car that you want and you're happy with, and then go from there. Now, I just took this on a road trip to Las Vegas, so if you want to see that video, click right here. It'll give you an idea of how much time charging added, what the range is when you're going 70 or 80 miles per hour. This will be a helpful video for you. And subscribe if you haven't already.